Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, the game whose title scares off normal people with the threat of math, and whose story destroys all who know it. And perhaps the saddest Kingdom Hearts game? The one that will leave you wishing you were dead in a puddle of your own tears.
Go on, you just keep running! But I'll always be there to bring you back!
Xion! Who else will I have ice cream with?
So Kingdom Hearts 2, while not quite hitting KH1 sales numbers, was still a huge hit, and once fans caught wind of all the additions in the Japanese exclusive Final Mix version, the lingering will, the mentions of a great battle among past Keyblade wielders, and the Birth by Sleep secret ending featuring new and familiar faces alike, they went rabid. People were trying to piece together what this could mean for the future of the series. Sure, KH2 is probably the happiest, most tied together ending in the series, but there were still so many questions. Just who was Xehanort anyway? Who were the organization members before they became nobodies? Is this really the end for Roxas and Naminé, or could there be some way to let them coexist alongside Sora and Kairi? And for fuck's sake, will Kairi ever be allowed to do anything? And the answers might not have been very satisfying, but they did arrive. But not in KH3. KH3 would not be happening for a long, long time. You see, after KH2, the series creator and director Tetsuya Nomura, as well as the development team who created KH1 and KH2, dubbed the Tokyo team, began work on a new project, Final Fantasy Versus 13. If you have no clue what that is, it's what Final Fantasy 15 was called before Square changed directors to finally get the game out the fucking door. That's a whole other tale of tragedy and woe, so I will gesture to a few videos on that topic on the screen now for your viewing pleasure, after you've watched this, of course. But the important thing to know is that because Nomura and the KH team were focused on that project, it meant a potential KH3 would have to wait until that was done. And Versus 13 was kind of infamous at that time for being trapped in development hell for many years. In the meantime, though, Square wanted to keep the KH franchise alive and relevant, and making them money. And so they opted to create several spin-off titles. The term spin-off suggests that they're not important, but if you will remember Chain of Memories, Nomura is very much a fan of making everything plot relevant. These titles will be developed by different teams, presumably have lower budgets, and be made for various handhelds, like the Nintendo DS, 3DS, and PSP. The idea was that these non-numbered entries would continue to flesh out the story, lore, and universe of Kingdom Hearts, setting the stage for an eventual KH3. They would also feature vastly different gameplay compared to KH1 and KH2, a chance to experiment with new gameplay styles without messing with the formula of the big number titles that all the casuals would buy. Since these spin-off titles would basically just be for hardcore fans with the means to access them, and newbies who had no clue what they were walking into and were probably just expecting a cute little handheld Disney game. The poor fools. I have many feelings about this approach, but part of Kingdom Hearts' quirkiness is having to explain why its titles seem to be so weird and esoteric for the sake of it. And trust, I will be yelling about this later because wow, was this a series of railroad spikes for the franchise's broader perception. So for the spin-off titles, we have 4 between KH2 and KH3. Well, 5 or 6 if you want to get technical, and even more if you count the remakes, but in terms of this video series you're watching now, it's 4. It's 4. The first 3 all tie into the 4th, which acts as the bridge to KH3. First up, 358 over 2 days. First up, 358 days over 2. It's just the way it's formatted too, because like days is after the 2, but you're meant to pronounce the 2 after days. Like, oh, for fuck's sake. Developed by hand for the Nintendo DS. A moment of silence for the DS. She was that girl. She was that girl. Long live the handheld console era. The Steam Deck has succeeded you beautifully. If you're wondering what the hell Hand is, they're the developers who made The World Ends With You, which will actually be relevant a few games from now.
Hey, I didn't catch your name.
Dream Eaters!
That's a weird name.
Not me, them.
358 is a midquel. We're just gonna call it 358 for the sake of our sanity. So 358 is a midquel following Roxas during his time in Organization 13, meaning it is set between his birth towards the end of KH1 and his very, very sad fate in the KH2 prologue. It's meant to flesh out Roxas' character and his friendship with Axel, while also depicting the cruelty of the hierarchy that the organization used to exploit its own members. So why is it called this? Why is it a math equation? I'm scared. Well, it follows Roxas along with another character for their 358 days in the organization. Why 358? Because that seems so weirdly specific? Well, because when you add in the 6 days of the KH2 prologue, along with the 7th day when Sora awakens, it all adds up to 1 year.
I could deal with 7 days, maybe.
Basically, Roxas has the saddest first birthday ever, like literally ever. I mean, I don't even think technically he made it to his first birthday. And, you know, we're gonna have the party and then Sora wakes up and he's like, "Ooh, cake, don't mind if I do." And Roxas is just sitting there, just like, I died for this. And I don't even get to have my own birthday cake. Fuck you, Sora, fuck you. Personally, while I do see beauty in the meaning of this title, it also makes for terrible marketing and also scares off normal people. Like, if you were a normal person, how the fuck would you even know, like, this comes after KH2? Like, Jesus Christ. Even in the collections, it's in the wrong spot. We'll get there later. Seeing as 358 was a DS game, it could not be simply remastered for the HD collections. It would have needed a whole remake. And Square didn't really see much point in that. You know, that would require making it from the ground up or using the KH2 engine or whatever, and we don't feel like doing that. We don't think that's gonna, like, be worth the investment. We'd rather just make a fucking movie version, and so that they did. They decided to remake most of the game's cutscenes and stitch them together into a movie, a 2.5-hour movie, and I'm using movie with air quotes. The problem is that the game's scenes were never designed to be a whole movie that you sit down and watch all the way through. So it leads to a lot of issues, and we'll get there later. But for the purposes of this video and my joy, I've gone ahead and emulated 358 on my Steam Deck. Calm your tits, Square Nintendo. I played it on the DS back in the day like a good noodle, and of course, I copied my own file from my game that I own. Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely the version that I'm using. Absolutely, yes. I don't know, calm your tits, bitches. Aren't there corporate taxes that you should be dodging? So we are going to talk about 358 as a game, and then at the end as a movie, and get into how it holds up as both, and how it impacts the ongoing story of Kingdom Hearts. And we will be adding memes as needed to help us cope with the unceasing pain. Before we begin, ciao! My name is Thomas, aka the Unicorn of War, and I discuss whatever is rotting my brain at the moment, and currently that's Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts has had me in a chokehold for like a few months now, and I decided I might as well monetize it. I talk about games, animation, whatever the fuck I like, so if you enjoy what you find here, you enjoy my colorful banter, my mentally ill banter, then, you know, you can subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. YouTube hates creators, as we say around here. And you can also pledge your support for myself and the channel so I don't die over on Patreon, also for little perks like Patreon exclusive content, early scripts, early videos, access to the private Union of War Discord server. But you know, without further ado, let the chaos commence. So before we talk about the story, let's go over the gameplay and structure of 358, because it is quite different from the games coming before it, and the structure specifically is going to impact the way that the story plays out. 358 operates on a mission-based structure. The days are individual segments where you, as Roxas, begin in the gray area, a lobby within the organization's castle, and can talk to whichever org members happen to be there at the moment.
And sometimes you're a bitch.
You then speak with Cyax, the devil himself, sorry Satan, who briefs you on your mission for the day. You head to another world through a dark corridor, do the mission, and then head back to the corridor, after which you will usually get a cutscene or two of either your afterwork shenanigans or devastating plot progression. It is incredibly repetitive, which is part of the point. You are forced into Roxas' non-clown shoes to understand the organization's surprisingly mundane routine, not only to understand how the organization operates, but also to empathize with Roxas clinging to his newfound friendships to find purpose, while also falling into the illusion of security within this routine, as it is used to try and quietly destroy Roxas once he's no longer useful. You know, the organization only uses people until they are no longer useful.
Xemnas.
Only uses people until they are no longer useful.
Those people saying that the Kingdom Hearts to Ruby pipeline is a straight line, they weren't wrong. They were not wrong. Sadly, the world choices in this game are quite boring. They're very boring. Firstly, you can't explore the organization's castle, so that's an automatic failure in my book. Like, you tease us with the main parts of it in KH2, and then when we're finally actually working within this group, we don't even get to see an expanded version of it. We don't get to see everybody's weird rooms in the graveyard that I'm now realizing was built before any of them even died. Not Xemnas outright telling them none of you bitches will live to see my true goal. As for the other world, there's also no way to explore them freely. You only have access to specific areas during specific missions. Again, it does reinforce Xemnas' control over his underlings, but is still a bummer gameplay-wise. For worlds, we've got Twilight Town, Wonderland, Olympus Coliseum, Agrabah, Halloween Town, Neverland, and Beast Castle. Yeah, they're all just KH1 and KH2 clones, and I can hear y'all audibly sigh through like 3/4 of the list, if not the whole list. Well, Neverland actually does get a glow up. Instead of being contained to just the Jolly Roger, you know, the pirate ship, like Captain Hook's pirate ship, you're actually exploring several small islands across the sea of Neverland. The flying controls aren't too bad either, which is really impressive considering the land controls are... we'll get there later. The rest of the world sadly aren't very interesting. There are ongoing stories such as Aladdin and Jasmine trying to protect Agrabah from ongoing sandstorms caused by the Heartless, and Jack Skellington trying to find new ways to make Halloween scarier, but they're not very interesting and don't have much to do with the actual story with the organization. Disney really just feels like it's there at a contractual obligation, which is, this is so sad. I mean, you do get moments where the genie shows up in front of Roxas and the genie looks really cracked out and it's deeply frightening.
You better stop!
I think that's kind of the closest we get to like Disney mattering, so that's great. This also is not helped by the fact that the organization is trying to fly under the radar, which means we don't even get to enjoy that feeling of being baddies going around terrorizing people. Roxas does get to train under Phil for a while, with Phil confusing him for a recruit that Hercules sent to the Colosseum, which is kind of cute. But it also makes me deeply confused as to why Phil did not point out the similarities in Roxas' hair and choice of weapon to a certain other Keyblade-wielding, spiky-haired boy. Then again, maybe there's some weird memory stuff going on with Sora. I mean, at this point, I guess everyone would have forgotten about Sora, but then it also confuses me why Phil never brought up Roxas in KH2 to Sora. Because to my knowledge, the memory wiping issue did not happen with Roxas when he got reabsorbed. Unless we decide to retcon that to hurt me. You wouldn't do that, right, Square? Right, Nomura? You also get to see the beginning of Xaldin's fixation on the beast. He makes a comment about love being a worthless emotion that he and Roxas will never know, to which I say, Xaldin, who broke your heart before you became a nobody? Were you in love with Xehanort? Or should I say Xemnas? Or Lexius, perhaps. Maybe Lexius. You legally have to give me the tea. My point is, while it's impressive that the worlds were more or less successfully recreated for the DS, with a handful of new areas like the revamped Cave of Wonders or the crawl space in Beast Castle, there's not much really going on with them to warrant interest. I'm also kind of bewildered why Hollow Bastion was not included. It seems like an obvious choice given it's one of the core original worlds in the series, and it's where most of the organization came from before becoming nobodies. It would especially be interesting seeing the messy middle stages of Hollow Bastion's reconstruction before KH2. We still have the command menu, but it's a bit unwieldy. See, in the PS2 games, you could control it with the directional buttons or a D-pad, with the joysticks handling movement and camera controls. The DS could not do that though, since all it had was a D-pad. Movement then had to be handled by the D-pad. I'm saying D-pad so many times, it feels weird. The camera controls were handled by the bottom touchscreen, with the tap of the right shoulder button resetting it. So to scroll through the command menu, you had to press the X button instead, which wasn't really all that intuitive. It's especially unintuitive while emulating on a Steam Deck. Thankfully, there is a fix to that we'll get to in a bit. We still primarily rely on the combo system like in previous games, but combos suck here. They don't feel nearly as smooth or weighty as they do in previous games, which also doesn't pair well with the fact that enemies barely stagger and have hitboxes smaller than Kairi's role in the story. It makes combat feel more tedious and dreadful than fun and cathartic. The problem gets magnified by bosses, and even some regular enemies or mini-bosses, who wind up being damage sponges with far too much HP, like the carrier ghost, who winds up going so high into the air, I have to keep using the same aerial combo over and over, oftentimes with only my finisher connecting. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun to have to do for like 5 to 10 minutes. Or the Leech Grave. Oh god, the Leech Grave. It's this giant flower-type Heartless whose weak point is the coffin hanging from the bud at the center. Sick design, I must say, and I do dig its presence in Halloween Town from a story perspective, but actually fighting this thing is a fucking nightmare. You have to take out the 4 tentacle arms around the area in order to stun the Leech Grave, and then do as much damage to the coffin as you can before it wakes up. Repeat this process up to a dozen times depending on your timing, luck, and damage output, and then add the fact that the tentacles can kill you very easily if you're not careful, and arguably have the worst hitboxes in the entire game, making it incredibly hard to consistently damage them. Oh, and if you get too close to the coffin before it's stunned, it will likely trap you in a combo that will outright kill you. They did introduce the limit break mechanic in this game, at least. When your HP falls into the yellow zone, you're able to unleash more powerful berserker-style attacks. However, the yellow zone shrinks with each limit break, so you can't just keep spamming them. Think of it as glass cannon mode, made more so by the fact that you also can't use magic, or apparently even items in this mode. It's a neat idea, but I never really found it too useful, nor to be worth the risk for the minimal damage increase it gives. Now, a lot of these issues can be remedied by the Melon Mix mod, which is essentially a modified version of the game designed to more closely resemble the console games. You can map the command menu to the D-pad, moving to the left joystick, and camera controls to the right joystick. The minimap and other info from the touchscreen now also shows up as a transparent little mini menu across the HUD. It doesn't fix the wonky combos or the shitty hitboxes, but it does make the game far more tolerable. Oh, and they also replace a lot of the low-res cutscenes with their HD counterparts from the 358 movie, which is very much appreciated. I really appreciate that. And apparently there are even additions that allow you to launch the Melon Mix version from the collections, which we love that integration. We love it. We love to see it. Now, you may notice the lack of an MP bar, yet you still have a magic slot in the command menu. And this leads us into the most unique and most peculiar aspect of 358's gameplay, the panel system. You see this big scary board with all of these slots? This is the panel. Every magic spell, every item, every ability, every keyblade, and even every level up is an individual panel, a little block. And you install these blocks on the board. This forces you to be mindful of what kind of playstyle you want, since you can't install every single panel, especially because certain panels take up more space than others. Keyblades serve as your combo modifiers, with each type of gear having its own set of attacks designed for certain scenarios, be it ground or aerial combat or physical or magic-based builds. You have panel groups, which can amplify your level up panels, increase the number of magic spells you can use, and increase the level of their strength. Yeah, spells are itemized here. The main difference is item panels disappear forever after use, where magic panels will be restored after a mission is completed, or if you use an item like an ether. And magic can actually be a game changer here depending on how you use it, as it can often wind up doing far more damage than your combos could ever hope to. Ironically, I find fire, like base fire, far more useful than its more advanced forms, Fyra and Fyraga. Mostly because I prefer the version that homes in on targets with how wonky the targeting and hitboxes are in this game. You know, I want to make sure it burns these bitches to death. and fire still does an ungodly amount of damage on its own. If you're into customizing your playstyle, you'll probably really like the panel system and maximizing how much you can get out of it. Like, ooh, it just... It's a form of weird Tetris that just makes my heart sing. And it also helps that it's nowhere near as off-putting or inaccessible as the card battle system in Chain of Memories, thank God. Now, while this game takes place over 358 days, not every single one of those days is playable. There are 93 missions in total, give or take some optional ones. Because of this, we are not going to comb through every single day one by one. Instead, we're going to go over the story in broad strokes, covering the major events, and then go into depth with the analysis afterwards. Okay? Okay. Our story begins with Roxas' creation, where he is immediately snatched up by Xemnas, named, and inducted into the organization as their 13th member. And just so you know in advance, we're going to quickly name each organization member and their number. A lower number indicates a higher rank within the group, so Xemnas, being the leader, is 1.
He was number 1.
Xigbar is number 2, being Xemnas' closest confidant, which is kind of wild, given his personality. But then when you know why, you're like, okay. Oh. No, the reason is not gay. I mean, it might be, but like...
As if.
The rest in rank order are Xaldin, Vexen, Lexius, Zexion, Cyax, Axel, Demix, Luxord, Marluxia, Larxene, and Roxas. You know when you say all the names like right after one another and all the X's have to be pronounced, you're just kind of like, wow, this received funding. Oh my God. That's kind of admirable. That's kind of iconic, actually. So the organization members are ranked in the order in which they were recruited, which also translates to how much authority they're meant to hold within the group. Translation: the closer you are to Xemnas over there, the more power you have. How in the hell Xaldin ranked 3rd is beyond me. But then again, maybe it has to do with his distrust in love, wink wink nudge nudge. And also maybe the fact that Vexen was so fucking annoying he wasn't worthy of the 3rd spot. Ugh.
In this organization, you're number 11. I'm number 4 and
Shut
I will
your
not have you!
Initially, Roxas is unable to speak and isn't even fully aware of his own existence, since he's basically a newborn at this point.
How about my name then?
Axel.
And how about our boss's name, huh?
Xemnas.
No way you're gonna forget his name, right? Let's go.
He's also distinct from the other organization members. In case you need a refresher, Organization 13 is made up of nobodies, capitalized, which are entities created when a person loses their heart and becomes a heartless. Nobodies are essentially all that is left of the person, often keeping their self-awareness and will, but losing their ability to feel, at least to the extent they once did. Though the organization members are nobodies, they all retain their memories of who they used to be before they lost their hearts. All but Roxas. Roxas is also special because he is able to use the legendary Keyblade, since it chose his original. The Keyblade is critical to the organization's plan. They seek to create Kingdom Hearts, the heart of all worlds, in order to complete themselves and become full beings.
Pitiful heartless, mindlessly collecting hearts. The rage of the Keyblade releases those hearts. They gather in darkness, masterless and free, until they weave together to make Kingdom Hearts. And when that time comes, we can truly, finally exist.
At least as far as their leader Xemnas tells them, he definitely doesn't have his own ulterior motive, definitely not. To do this, they need Roxas to use the Keyblade to destroy the emblem Heartless, which are the heartless creatures, you know, with the heartless emblem on their designs. So not the shadows. The shadows are worthless. They're purebloods. We don't touch them. When destroyed with the Keyblade, the Heartless release those stolen hearts held captive within their darkness. These freed hearts will then naturally gather above the organization's castle, and once enough of them gather, they will create Kingdom Hearts. Axel serves as Roxas' main companion and guide as he gets into the swing of carrying out missions. Axel tries cracking jokes and connecting with Roxas, with most of Roxas' reactions being robotic responses, questions, and blank stares. Me too, Roxas, me too.
You remember what this ice cream is called?
It's,
Sea salt ice cream. I already told you before. Get it memorized.
After missions, Axel takes Roxas up to the clock tower in Twilight Town for ice cream. Sea salt ice cream. Sea salt ice cream, because apparently that's everybody's favorite in the series. You know, actually, I've never tried sea salt ice cream. I'm kind of scared too, because if I hate it, then how am I gonna feel about this? Like, is it gonna ruin this for me? Roxas is confused as to why they are hanging out, and Axel explains that it's just what friends do.
Come on, let's get some ice cream.
Why?
Why? Well, because we're friends.
Friends.
Friends eat ice cream together and talk and laugh about the stupidest things.
To which Roxas goes, "Friend? What is that?" This essentially becomes your after-work ritual, spending time at the clock tower just chilling to decompress and bond with your besties. This helps Roxas to develop his sense of self and personality over time. It is the friendships that Roxas naturally makes which help him to become the good noodle we understand him to be by KH2.
It's not like I have memories from before the organization. Don't you remember? I acted like a zombie.
Right, that first week you could barely form a sentence. But come on, you're still kind of a zombie.
Oh, thanks.
You also have several missions which serve as tutorials for different aspects of gameplay, whether it be the type of missions that you'll do, how to use magic, how to use your limit break, partially through Lexius breaking your jaw. These also pull double duty to have Roxas interact with Marluxia, Larxene, Vexen, Zexion, and Lexius as much as possible before they're all sent to die at Castle Oblivion. Unfortunately, this also means that Axel is being sent to Castle Oblivion, and Roxas is worried that he won't return. It does not help that everybody else is quite cagey about his potential fate when they receive word about the Castle Oblivion team all dying. Some even mock Roxas, bewildered that an unfeeling nobody would even care.
Is it true then? About Castle Oblivion?
That's none of your concern.
And Axel?
Gone. He may have disappeared for good.
What? Then, can you tell me what remains if a nobody is destroyed?
What's there to leave behind? We're not even supposed to be in the first place.
And the members at Castle Oblivion, where'd they go?
Nothing's left of them.
In which case, I'll never see them again?
That's right.
You know, it's giving less that nobodies don't feel and more that y'all are told over and over that you shouldn't feel and then police each other over it. I blame Xemnas. While Roxas adjusts to life in the organization, we are also introduced to a new member, number 14.
Number 14. Let us all welcome one of the Keyblades chosen.
Of Organization 13. Off the bat, you're like, what? Why call yourselves 13 if there's 14 of you? To which I say, exactly. You've hit the point exactly, and you're going to cry about it later.
Just count the seats here. We have and always will be 13.
This is Xion. She's a lot like Roxas, unable to remember her past, and very robotic until Roxas helps her to open up on their missions.
I've got someplace to be again today, so go on ahead without me.
Roxas.
Huh? Xion?
Roxas is your name.
Yeah.
While Axel is off at Castle Oblivion, Roxas actually invites Xion to their usual clock tower hangout. She initially keeps her hood up all the time, but eventually on one of her and Roxas' missions together, she removes her hood, revealing a face that you might find quite familiar.
Roxas. Best of luck today.
Yeah.
She also reveals a Keyblade?
Wow, Xion, I didn't know you could use the Keyblade.
You know? Neither did I.
And uses it to destroy a dark side. And yes, it's the same default kingdom key that Roxas and Sora use. So who is Xion even? Whose nobody is she? She can't be Kairi's, right? Because Naminé is Kairi's nobody. Never mind the whole anagram name thing. Don't unscramble Xion's name. I mean, you'll try and you'll probably not get it right because it's weird, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yet, how can Xion use the Keyblade? And why didn't she know that she could use it until it happened during the mission? The day after this, Roxas falls into a coma.
What's happening?
It's never explicitly stated, but apparently this coincides with when Naminé began rearranging Sora's memories. Roxas eventually wakes up right around the same time that Sora enters the pod to have his memories restored. So there's already a strong connection between Roxas and Sora that Roxas is completely unaware of.
Will he wake from this?
I am told Roxas will return, provided the hero is stripped of all his memories.
Then I suppose much hinges on Castle Oblivion.
Xion has gained power over the Keyblade, just as we intended. She can fill Roxas's shoes for the time being.
While he's asleep, Xion goes to Destiny Islands, bringing back seashells and placing them beside Roxas.
I went to a new world today, Roxas. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. I hope that you can join me next time. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, Roxas.
You know, to have Xion begin visiting the islands for plot later, to thematically connect her to the sea, just like Kairi and Naminé, and to show that her strengthening connection to Roxas is causing her to act in a way that nobody supposedly can't. When Roxas finally awakens, the organization expects him to get right back to work because they only care about all the hearts he can harvest for them. Yeah, it doesn't sound like how workers are treated and exploited in our world at all. Doesn't sound familiar at all. Roxas, if you see someone on the Amazon floor, get back to fucking work. Axel finally returns as well, and Roxas is so happy to see him. It's so cute.
Hey, Roxas. It's been a while. What's the matter? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Axel. I heard everyone at Castle Oblivion was annihilated.
Not me. I'm tough.
You had me worried.
Worry? We nobodies don't have the hearts to worry, you know?
I'll go buy us some ice cream.
Axel says he took out Zexion on Cyax's behalf, presumably so that Cyax could climb the organization's ranks to get closer to Xemnas.
I knew the time would come when Vexen and Zexion got in your way. That's why I took the initiative and cleared the way to the top for you.
Cyax also mentions a chamber.
By finding the room that Xemnas is searching for, you would find out everything about Xemnas' true agenda, am I right?
The Chamber of Repose as well as the Chamber of Waking. Xemnas has an agenda that he hasn't told to anybody. And we are bound to find some clues in the Chamber of Waking. And once we obtain those clues, we'll have the upper hand for our own objectives.
If you will remember, there were 2 chambers mentioned in KH2. The Chamber of Repose, within the depths of Radiant Garden's castle, where Xemnas spoke to the armor, and the Chamber of Waking, where Xemnas' other friend supposedly is. Eventually, Xion winds up going missing, prompting Roxas to search for her, with Axel's help after Roxas pesters him enough. Once they find her, Xion reveals that she's no longer able to use the Keyblade, and thus is no longer able to vanquish the Heartless.
I can't use the Keyblade anymore. But if I don't defeat Heartless with the Keyblade, the hearts they release will just find their way into other Heartless instead. My mission is to go out and collect hearts. If I'm unable to use the Keyblade, I'll be useless.
She is now terrified, justifiably so, of what the organization will do to her now that she can't procure hearts for them. Roxas offers to help her, getting Sykes to begrudgingly send them on missions together for a while so that Roxas can cover for her, while also trying to help her summon her Keyblade.
Xion, make sure your missions are with Roxas, until you can use the Keyblade again. That way, he can collect the hearts and no one will know that you can't use the Keyblade. But that means you have to collect twice as many hearts.
Yeah, I can do it.
Would you?
Of course I would.
But
Friends need to lean on each other every now and then. Ain't that right, Roxas?
we're friends. Axel, does that mean you and I are friends, too?
Well, if you're friends with Roxas, then yeah, of course you're my friend.
Thank you, Roxas, Axel.
Just eat your ice cream.
And he's so kind in the meantime. He tries to get by with a humble stick. What a guy. Eventually, Xion is at last able to summon her own Keyblade, and oh my god, she's so excited, and Roxas is so excited for her. He's so freaking cute.
You did it!
Roxas, it worked!
I can't wait to tell Axel this. Let's go!
Yeah!
Once these 3 get into the groove, they quickly wind up becoming a trio. The Sea Salt Trio, cause they love sea salt ice cream.
I hope we can always be just like this forever.
Me too.
What's that all about?
I just want these days to last forever. Hanging out, the ice cream, the sunsets.
Well, nothing lasts forever, you know. Least of all for a bunch of nobodies like us. But it's okay if things change and we can't meet up here.
Huh?
As long as we keep each other in our thoughts, none of us will ever have to be apart. Got it memorized?
Wow, that was so not you.
Hey!
Excuse me, I need to go cry for a few minutes real quick. These 3 do parallel Sora, Riku, and Kairi a little bit, but they don't share quite the same dynamic. Roxas is earnest and sweet, but has a bit more of an edge to him than Sora and more of a temper.
Well, that didn't take long. Did it break again?
She's not an it!
Keep your mouth shut.
You have changed. What happened at Castle Oblivion?
Axel is incredibly laid back and jovial, though his tendency to hold his cards close to his chest is fed in part by cowardice and denial.
Seriously, where is she?
Xion is sweet and shy, only opening up to show a sassier side with people that she's grown comfortable with.
Axel says he was asleep all day.
What? What's that about? You wasted a day off?
Unlike you two lazy bones, I work hard, so I'm tired, okay?
Unlike me and Roxas, maybe you're just out of shape.
Cyax, meanwhile, seems to have a strange bond with Axel, suggesting that they knew each other and potentially were friends before becoming nobodies.
There's simply too much on the line, Lee.
Cyax also doesn't seem to like how close Axel is getting with either Roxas or Xion.
You're letting yourself get too attached to them.
Yeah. Whatever you say.
You know, you've changed.
Apathy is usually all that Roxas ever gets from Cyax, while Cyax openly disdains Xion, refusing to call her by name and even referring to her as it.
We can't afford to take any more chances on you. You were a mistake we never should have made.
You'll understand why later, but yeah, I hate knowing how Cyax votes. I hate him. I hate him. And I take more joy in beating the shit out of him with his own claymore as Sora. Sadly, smooth sailing can never last. Xion begins having strange dreams about Sora. Dreams that feel like memories, but aren't her own. Eventually, when Riku winds up on the organization's radar, internally referred to as an imposter because he wears the same black cloak, Xion is sent to eliminate him only to be bested in battle. Riku refers to her Keyblade as a sham, and this very much sets her off.
Your face. Who are you really? And why do you have a Keyblade?
Tell me first, why you are dressed as one of us.
To make sure my best friend sleeps in peace. I don't know who you're supposed to be, but you can't fight fire with sparks. This Keyblade, it's a sham. Worthless.
My Keyblade is not a sham. What gives you the right to say that?
Find a new crowd. Trust me, those guys are bad news.
Why? You're the real sham.
Fair enough. You could say I am the biggest nobody of them all.
Eventually, Xion becomes obsessed with discovering the truth of her origins, and those of Roxas as well. She accesses the organization's computer, then heads off to Castle Oblivion, which allegedly holds the secrets of how she came to be.
This is the place I come from, I just know it!
Don't be selfish.
Or else they'll turn me into a dusk?
They'll do worse than turn you into a dusk. They'll just destroy you.
And is that because I'm useless?
That's not it.
I'm remembering things. I have memories of back when I was a human.
Well, stop remembering. Nothing good will come of it.
I have dreams every night. And you're in those dreams, Axel.
And they sure aren't memories. How can I be a part of your past? They're just dreams, that's all.
You can't fool me. We've met before, Axel. Right here in this castle.
No, we have not. Let's go home, Xion. Don't keep Roxas waiting.
I need to know who I am.
Stop! Stay out of there, Xion!
And now it is time for me to explain who exactly Xion is and what she is. So hold my hand, friend. This shit still confuses most. Xion is in truth a replica. If you will remember from Chain of Memories, replicas are artificial beings. Most often clones, but not necessarily. In this case, Xion is a replica created from Sora's memories of Kairi. The organization had Vexen create her as a backup in case they couldn't rely on Sora or Roxas to use the Keyblade for their goal. This is part of why she appears to Roxas, and thereby to us as the audience, as a black-haired Kairi.
You're a replica, whose original purpose was to copy Roxas's powers.
At first, I just wanted to be with Roxas and Axel forever. But then I started to realize that my memories, well, these aren't really even mine, are they?
You're not Sora, and you're not Roxas. You're Kairi as Sora remembers her.
Does this suggest that Sora might be colorblind? Maybe. But the real reason is that they wanted a black-haired female character, and it also makes differentiating her from Kairi very easy, while also keeping the twist intact for longer. Why they couldn't take this approach later on with another character who resembles Roxas is fucking beyond me, but that's for next time. This is part of why Xion always had her hood up before opening up to Roxas. She literally had no face at first, only eventually becoming a Kairi lookalike as the memories began to coalesce.
Did you know? Her face was blank at first. But now, there is a face that is clearly visible. I think that's proof that she has entered Sora's memories.
But this also means that Xion appears differently to different people. For Axel, she always has her hood up, even while Roxas can see her face. Xigbar, meanwhile, sees her as the Roxas lookalike?
Of all the faces, why do I look at her and see yours? Why is it that you always have to glare at me like that?
Shut up!
Is this the Roxas lookalike from the KH2 secret ending? In which case, how does Xigbar know him? Did you actually drown a goldfish, sir? I wouldn't put it past Xigbar. I wouldn't put it past Xigbar to, snipe that fucking goldfish right in his fucking bowl. This also plays into why she is named Xion. Organization members' names are anagrams of their original names with an X thrown in by Xemnas, for stupid lore reasons. But if Xion isn't truly anyone's nobody, how does this work? Well, that's exactly it. She was the result of a project Vexen called Number 1, spelled like this. It suggests that she is the first replica created by Vexen, but phonetically, it reads as no one. No one. Xion is no one.
No, Wait. Don't do that to me. She deserves more than that! It says no one! And then Xion! It means no one! Oh my god!
And apparently, the use of the lowercase I suggests that it's an imaginary number rather than a real number, adding to Xion's artificiality. Okay, when you dig through all the layers, God, it hurts, but then I have to explain this to normal people, and I sound like a crackhead.
Xion is like a mirror that reflects you. And when I looked in the mirror, it wasn't you I saw.
I said, bitch, you sound like a crackhead.
The other nobodies, while not being considered full true people, were at least real at one point, but Xion, being crafted from someone else's memories of another person, is considered fake in every way. This is part of why Saix continually devalues and disrespects her, the other part being jealousy that Axel seems to care more about her and Roxas than him. Xion has actually seen Kairi on Destiny Islands before. There are similar appearances, prompting her to uncover these mysteries.
Riku, please. Tell me more about Sora and that girl he's always with.
You mean Kairi?
Kairi. That's right. She's the one who looks so much like me.
To Sora, she's someone very special.
It's just, I remember things about the two of them. But I'm nothing more than a puppet. Something that somebody created. So why would I have their memories?
Returning to the islands, she encounters Riku, who confirms all of this to her. Riku reveals that Sora's awakening has been continually delayed, as Naminé has not been able to fully restore his memories. As Roxas and Xion continue to become their own people, they also inadvertently leech Sora's memories away from him, rendering Sora's awakening impossible unless they return to him.
Some of Sora's memories are missing. Sora's memories are escaping through Sora's nobody into a third person. And now, they're starting to become a part of her. If her memories and Sora's memory fragments are completely weaved together, I would need to untangle them from each other, and that would take more time. Which means it would take even longer before Sora can wake up again. And Diz wouldn't tolerate that. If I just jump in and rearrange her memory, then Sora might wake up, only to find out that nobody remembers him anymore. That's a risk I just can't take. It's too late either way. Sora's awakening has already been delayed. Sora's nobody, and the one that's absorbing his memory. None of us imagined that they would fight so hard to become their own people. Unfortunately, the only real solution is for them both to go away.
But Riku doesn't want to force this to happen. Though Xion taunts him over this, Riku's comment here breaks my heart.
Your memories, they really belong to Sora.
So you mean I'm like a part of him?
When his memories were scattered, some of them found their way inside you. Now, Sora has been put to sleep so that we can piece together his memory. Except...
You can't, because part of it is inside of me. That means he can't wake up.
Yeah, you got it. But if you go with me to Sora right now, we could give the memories inside you back to him.
So, do you hate me for taking your friend away from you?
Nah. I guess... I'm just sad.
And in truth, Xion feels awful about this too, and I think is more trying to play the part of this evil creature keeping Sora asleep to cope with the bleak reality. All Xion wants to do is stay with Roxas and Axel forever, but not only will this mean Sora will never awaken, but she also knows the organization will inevitably tear them apart all by itself.
Is it that I'm not supposed to exist?
Well, what do you want to do, Xion?
I want to be with you two.
To make matters even worse somehow, Roxas is now growing weaker by the day. It would seem that not only are Sora's memories flowing through Roxas and into Xion, but Xion is also absorbing more and more of Roxas' strength.
Whether Xion takes from Roxas the rest of what he has to give, or whether he destroys her first and takes back what is his, there is no change to our plans. No matter how, Sora's power will belong to us.
She's not intentionally doing this. This is just another byproduct of her nature as a memory-born replica. The organization eventually decides that it doesn't need both Roxas and Xion for collecting hearts, and so they try to pit them against each other, even using illusions to make them see each other as heartless that they've been tasked with eliminating. SADDEST isn't very happy when Axel intervenes and reveals the truth.
Looks like you've meddled again.
Sorry, did you say something?
The organization doesn't need both of them. Just one will suffice. Stop pretending. Think about that.
But what can they do? Roxas and Xion can't just leave, as they're nobodies with nowhere else to go, and the organization would just hunt them down quite easily.
What if we all just took off?
What?
If we ran, I bet we could always be together.
But we have nowhere to run.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
What's important isn't that we hang out with each other every day.
As long as we keep each other in our thoughts, we'll never be apart, right? We've got it memorized, Axel.
Good.
I'll have these moments memorized for a long time. Forever.
Me too. Forever.
And so they remain with the organization that now clearly views them as disposable. At last, Xion runs away for good, even clashing with Xigbar on a mission so that she can escape. Roxas deserts not long after, battling with Syx on his way out. And ooh, I enjoy beating the shit out of Syx. Xion speaks with Naminé, intending to return to Sora. But there's a catch. Not only would Xion's existence come to an end, but once she returns to Sora, all memories of her will disappear, since she herself is a fabrication of stolen memories.
If you return your memories to him, then you will disappear. In exchange for not having your own memory, you're connected through others' memories. So when you disappear, no one will remember you. There won't be any you to remember. For all the powers I possess, I can't keep even one piece of the memory called you connected.
Before Xion can follow through on her decision, Axel shows up and drags her back to the organization. Axel knows that the organization is malicious, but he is desperate to keep the trio together and is terrified of losing Xion and Roxas to Sora. Essentially, he's picking the devil he knows over the devil he doesn't know. Alas, the devil that he knows is about to ruin everyone's lives. Thanks, Axel. Thanks.
Xion, what are you gonna do?
I've decided that I have to go back to where I belong.
Well, to be honest, I always felt that was best right from the very beginning. But you know, it still really bugs me. Something about this just stinks.
It's for the good of everyone.
But how do you know that? Everybody thinks they're right.
This is right.
They're gonna destroy you!
Please don't hold back, Axel. Promise.
What's your problem? You both think you can do whatever you want. Well, I'm sick of it. Go on, you just keep running. But I'll always be there to bring you back!
So Xemnas then sends Xion after Roxas, hoping that she will defeat him and absorb all of his remaining strength.
Roxas, I'm out of time. You have poured so many memories into me, given me so much, that I feel like I'm about to overflow. Look at me, Roxas. Who do you see? If you see somebody else's face, a boy's face, then that means I'm almost ready. This puppet will have to play her part. Roxas, this is him. It's Sora. You're next, Roxas. I have to make you a part of me too. Don't you see? This is why I was created.
After a grueling battle, a dying Xion pleads with Roxas to free all of the hearts they have gathered for Xemnas.
It was my choice to go away now. Better that than to do nothing and let Xemnas have his way. I belong with Sora, and now I am going back to be with him. Goodbye, Roxas. See you again. I'm glad I got to meet you. Oh, and of course, Axel too. You are both my best friends. Never forget. That's the truth.
No! Xion! Who else will I have ice cream with? Xion.
Once Xion is gone, the memory of her immediately begins to fade from everyone who knew her, though Roxas remembers enough to be sent on the warpath. Roxas heads to the world that never was, ready to stab Xemnas with the Oathkeeper and then decapitate him with the Oblivion. Riku heads him off, asserting that this is a suicide mission.
Do you have some kind of plan?
I'll set Kingdom Hearts free. Then everything will be the way it was. She'll come back. And the three of us can be together again.
You mean Xion? It's a struggle just to remember the name now. Either way, I can't let you go doing anything crazy.
I'm freeing Kingdom Hearts, and I'm going to find Sora. I want Xion back. I want my life back!
If you try and make contact with Kingdom Hearts, the last thing you'll get is your life back. The organization will destroy you.
Roxas doesn't much care and promptly kicks the shit out of Riku. Determined to stop Roxas and awaken Sora, Riku calls upon the dark powers within himself, transforming him into Ansem, Seeker of Darkness.
Diz, he could feel Sora.
Oh, he told you how he felt, did he? Ridiculous. Nobody cannot feel anything.
If he had met Sora, things might have been different.
Roxas, don't be sad. I came from you and Sora. I am you, the same way that I am Sora. You'll forget me, but the memories themselves will never go away. Memories of you and me will always be together, forever inside him.
With Roxas defeated and incapacitated, Riku and Diz then drop him into the Data Twilight Town. They give him new memories of a normal life where Roxas is hoping to enjoy the last few days of his summer vacation with Hainer, Pence, and Olette. And the rest, you already know from KH2. Oh god.
Maybe today we'll finally hit the beach.
.358's structure is very repetitive. It lends itself to a handheld where they would expect a normal person to play 1 or 2 missions a day real quick and then go about their normal life. But even when you're powering through the game, the monotonous structure actually works in favor of the story, making you empathize with Roxas as he goes through the motions.
But I've been going through the motions.
There's a certain feeling of safety in routine, where even if you're not happy or things aren't going well for you, there's an illusion of stability that allows you to just coast by, to let the comfort make you believe you can build a full life on a foundation that's quietly crumbling beneath you. Roxas is just trying to enjoy his time with his friends, to get through the jobs assigned to him, even if he doesn't understand or care about them. And even if he knows the organization either doesn't care about him, or actively wants to harm him, because it's the only structure he believes he can live within, the only one presented to him, and that he believes a nobody like him can have, and it's the one that lets him stay with his friends. I share a lot of critiques of the later KH games with frustrated Jacob, and I've heard him liken 358 to an analogy for 9-to-5 office work.
When I actually look at the games that he's written from Days onward, the only game that has a bunch of scenes where the characters, where like the friendship characters we're supposed to care about, sit around and talk with each other about their relationship, and we just get a feel for who these people are, is Days. And I think that Days has all of those scenes where the characters talk because they were structurally imposed upon Nomura, because that entire game is essentially an allegory for working a crappy office job and then after work every day going to the bar and knocking back a couple of beers with your only friends from the office and talking about how bogus your job is, how much you hate your boss, and how much you wish you could leave Tokyo and move out to the countryside. And then at the end, it turns out that the boss is actually, even though he's been telling you this whole time that you're special and you're being groomed for greatness and leadership and you're very important to this organization, it turns out actually you're just another cog in the machine, and we're going to replace you with a younger, more useful worker after we've worked you to the bone and you're no longer capable of going on anymore, and you've outlived your usefulness. The whole thing is this really on the nose, and not in a bad way, corporate allegory, but I think that the scenes where they sit around and eat ice cream are just because the structure of that game was do missions, then the characters will sit down and talk with each other. And that game has a quality to it that a lot of older JRPGs have, which is that the characters are not really all that well written, but you spend so much time with them that you kind of get over a curve and you start to get really into them. A lot of older JRPGs, the characters are not exactly stellar, but you spend so much time with them that you really get to like these people and you like their dynamic. And with Days, not every single mission, but there are so many scenes where it's just the characters sitting around and talking about nothing that you really do get. You start vibing with them. You know what I mean? You just kind of start vibing with Roxas and Axel and Xion by the end of the whole thing.
Where you're suffering through the daily drudgery just so you can hang out at the bar with your coworkers after you all clock out. Where no matter how loyal you are or how well you perform, you're still replaceable. You're a tool to be exploited and then discarded. Nothing more. This feeling gets lost in the movie version, but we'll get there when we get there. There is a real problem with this approach though, which might not actually be a problem per se. We get more time with Roxas, giving us a better idea of his character. Not much is different from the KH2 prologue. He is a sweet, wholesome being who's very defensive of his friends, especially Xion.
Xion she's not a puppet.
And while the organization is tasked with staying off the radar, when Roxas meets characters like Tinkerbell or Phil, he quite easily befriends them. He even takes it upon himself to free Tinkerbell when Captain Hook captures her. He's not a proactive hero like Sora, but he does still mean well. Roxas' biggest flaw is his passivity. He shides himself for it towards the end of the game, but he tends to just go with the flow, not bothering to question the organization's orders or missions.
Roxas, do you ever think about why we're doing all of this?
What do you mean, why? So we can get hearts of our own, right?
But what do we need hearts for?
I don't know. But I think once we have hearts, we probably won't have to think about why we're doing all this. Or if we need hearts.
I'm not sure. I just wish I knew what I was doing here.
Even while working for Literal Evil Incorporated, Roxas just wants some semblance of a normal life with his friends. To a fault, as he just watches as everything falls apart around him.
Let's go home. If you come back voluntarily, Sykes will let all this drop. He has to. Me and Axel will make sure...
I really can't.
Wait!
Well, hello there, Xion.
Axel? No, wait!
Stop!
I do wish he got more time with the other organization members, namely so he could contrast with them. It's usually just Roxas being confused as Xaldin, Lexius, or whoever bullies him for being an idiot. He does briefly get fed up with Demyx's continual laziness, which does amuse me, but there's not really enough of it for my liking. But the real issue here is how Roxas' passivity kinda leads to him not making for as engaging as a protagonist, and what that means for Xion. So this has been said before, and I shall reiterate, Xion behaves like the real protagonist of this story. While Roxas is just going about his usual routine, Xion is the one questioning her origins and taking it upon herself to find answers. She hacks into the organization computer to learn about herself, she goes to Castle Oblivion, she goes to find Riku and Naminé to find answers, and she decides to sacrifice herself to reawaken Sora.
I'm ready. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I also know that Roxas should be going back with me, but I don't think he would understand. Not yet. Naminé, will you please watch over Roxas once I'm gone? You won't be alone. I asked someone else too. There just isn't anything else I can do. All right. Thank you.
Well, if you're ready, let's go see Sora.
Initially, it might seem odd to even create Xion in the first place. From a writing perspective, I mean, not like in-universe. Get your Watsonian bullshit out of here. Like, why not just slot Naminé into her place, or have Roxas do all these things himself? Apparently, Nomura wanted a female character to be the reason why Roxas goes to try and free Kingdom Hearts, leading to his fight with Riku and his eventual fate in the Data Twilight Town. And while I'm all for more female characters in this story, especially ones who have more agency, Kairi Naminé, Xion was created from jump to be a martyr to catalyze Roxas' actions. Cinespectre's deep dive into the Women of Kingdom Hearts goes into detail about this, and I highly recommend it, but it is worth noting that Xion's very existence in the narrative is to, first and foremost, motivate Roxas. And Xion gets off lucky. Kairi still hasn't been allowed to be an active force in the story, while Naminé has steadily become more and more irrelevant to join her original in the shadows since her debut. So it's very frustrating that here Xion comes along and she's doing all the things you would expect a protagonist to do, and yet it's still Roxas' story, because Xion was created for the sake of upsetting him enough to actually do something. You could argue that Roxas is an unconventional protagonist in that he's not meant to be proactive. He's meant to be passive as part of going through this routine and doesn't take charge until he's literally forced to by losing everything that matters to him. But much like the organization's underutilization in KH2, that doesn't really make for as compelling of a story. It feels very odd. It feels like an odd choice. I know I'm taking a lot of shots here, but that is because I do love the core of the story that we have here, and I'm just really confused as to why it was handled the way that it was. Clearly, the tragedy of Roxas, Xion, and Axel's story is what makes this game as much of a standout as it is. So why is the one who is actively uncovering the roots of that tragedy not the one at the story's helm? All that said, I do still appreciate Xion's character. She's very shy and meek, but quite sassy and quippy when she's around people she's comfortable with. And she's often read as trans or gender fluid, specifically because of the way she appears differently depending on who perceives her, which also makes Saïx an anti-trans trash bag.
Well, that didn't take long. Did it break again?
She's not an it!
It, not she, is a replica.
Like when he and Xemnas refer to Xion as an it makes my fucking skin crawl. And I actually enjoy that twist about when Xion returns to Sora, it causes everyone to forget she exists, because it adds to the tragic nature of her existence, that any important role she has in the story is erased. It feels very on point to the way queer people are kind of used to being erased from history, from culture, from everything, really. The bit of her being Kairi as Sora remembers her feels odd though. Not because of the black hair, because thank God she's not suffering from Ventus syndrome, but more so that it feels very tacked on. Probably because Kairi herself gets neglected by the story, so it becomes difficult to fully dive into this connection without being forced to wade into headcanon territory. I guess you could argue this means Sora views Kairi as far shyer and more timid than she actually is, which, Sora, you got some shit to unpack. So back to positives, this game really makes me appreciate Axel's character. He tries to play it cool and he's done dodgy shit before, but he is at his core a softie.
They're sending me out on recon for a few days.
Where?
Can't tell.
But I thought we were friends.
Hey, I'm not about to tell you all my dark secrets. Got it memorized? Try not to bungle everything while I'm gone, huh?
Now, why would we do that?
Well, considering your track record, I just can't count on you guys.
Hey!
He's driven heavily by his emotions, ironic given nobodies are allegedly emotionless, and is incredibly short-sighted. He unexpectedly becomes attached to Roxas and Xion, and will eventually do whatever it takes to keep them around, even if he knows it won't work in the long run.
If you could save one of them, why would you choose the puppet? Or put it this way, which would you rather suffer the loss of? Some make-believe friendship? Or a real one?
He knows that the organization wants to eliminate either Xion or Roxas. He knows they won't let the three of them stay together. And yet, it's the only place that Axel can imagine them having the chance to be together at all. When Axel says,
"They're gonna destroy you!"
For a while, I thought he meant that the organization would destroy Xion for disobeying them. But now, I think when he's talking about Xion's destruction, he's actually referring to her being absorbed into Sora. He knows for certain that if Xion and eventually Roxas do this, they will 100% for sure disappear. And so he would rather take the 95% chance that the organization destroys one or both of them, because at least then there's a 5% chance they can all find some kind of workaround. In this regard, Axel is largely driven by fear and especially by KH2 self-preservation.
Do you really have to do what Xemnas says?
If I don't, they'll eradicate me next.
He's ready to destroy Roxas when Xemnas directly threatens him.
We're best friends, right?
Sure, but I'm not getting turned into a dusk for...
And maybe if Axel had clued Roxas and Xion in on what he knew earlier, they could have all worked together to find another solution.
Have you known about Xion this whole time?
No, not the whole time.
Since when then?
I can't exactly remember when.
Didn't get it memorized, huh? The organization wanted me out of the picture. They didn't need me anymore. And Axel, I guess you felt the same way.
You're wrong there. You'll always be my best friend.
Best friends are supposed to be honest with each other. Who am I, Axel?
Xemnas says me and Xion are connected to each other through Sora.
I don't even know a Sora. Am I a puppet like Xion?
You're different from Xion.
Then why do...
Finding out the truth. Does it always work out for the best?
What makes you so sure about that? I have the right to know the truth.
How did I even get here?
Why am I so special? Where did I learn how to use the Keyblade? I hardly know who I am. What is so wrong with wanting some answers?
You've just gotta trust me, Roxas.
I don't. I can't.
Roxas!
You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half.
Maybe he could have made peace with their tragic fates, but that's just not who Axel is at that point. I think it's also interesting the way that Saix antagonizes him over this.
Oh, Axel. A grifter till the end.
That's absurd. He won nothing, and is nothing. He couldn't stand the emptiness of being without a heart, and that led to his demise. He was foolish and weak.
Yes, Saix's disdain for Roxas and especially Xion, I think is largely driven by resentment and envy, that Axel is now closer to them than he is with Saix, as they were before they became nobodies.
You have changed. What happened at Castle Oblivion does The past mean nothing to you.
But Cyax also isn't completely wrong that Axel is bashing his head into a brick wall. The problem is not that Axel is operating out of emotion like Cyax believes, but rather that Axel's emotions are blinding him to what needs to be done and honoring Roxas and Xion's wishes, and are instead making him lash out and keep running into dead ends. Now, I feel quite mixed on Organization 13's role here. Positives first, I like that the organization is portrayed as an exploitative, abusive, monstrous place to work. Makes the corporate allegory feel very apt.
If you see warning signs of potential organizing, notify your building HRM and GM site leader immediately. The most obvious signs would include use of words associated with unions or union-led movements like living wage.
All the members of this hierarchy, whatever Xemnas promises them, are disposable. They are here to do their job while keeping their heads down and then accept when it's time to axe them. They are cogs in a machine, nothing more, made easier by the dehumanization of nobodies that Xemnas himself propagates. Honestly, I'm kinda convinced that Xemnas wanted them to believe they were emotionless to make it easier to gaslight and control them, which I think Dream Job Distance kind of ends up confirming. We'll get there when we get there. And while I do appreciate that the story keeps its focus on our sea salt trio, with Cyax acting as an antagonist, I do also wish that we got more time with the rest of the group. It is a game about being in the organization after all. While you do get to occasionally team up with Zaldin, Xigbar, and Demyx, etc., you don't really get much out of these team-ups. Part of this is an attempt to keep the lid on a lot of these members' past from before they became nobodies, but like, wouldn't now be a good time to start dropping tidbits about that in the story itself, instead of hiding them in the Ansem reports? I honestly wish some of the days weren't from Roxas's perspective, but the perspective of other members, giving you a bit of a more well-rounded view of the organization and how everyone feels about it. And they are fully playable too, so this could have been done, not only through holo missions, but also mission mode, which was even multiplayer back in the DS heyday. You can play as all of Organization 13, as well as Sora, Riku, Donald, Goofy, and Mickey. Do you know how wild it is that you are given all these options in a goddamn spin-off DS game, but not the main numbered console games? And likewise, Diz still has barely anything to do, other than grumble menacingly at Naminé and then throw slurs at Xion.
If his memories become her memories, she will never survive it.
She?
Riku at least functions as a guiding character for Xion, but even that feels odd since, again, Xion is not supposed to be our protagonist, Roxas is. Naminé is really only there to report on how we need to get rid of Roxas and Xion to wake Sora up.
Sora's memory, I'm afraid, is stopped.
What does that mean?
Unless something is done, he'll never wake from his slumber.
The gloves must come off, then.
But...
Nobodies never should have existed. As I'm sure you understand, Naminé.
Yes.
Which cements that chain of memories was the first and only time she'd ever get to be an actual character. Now, I know I've taken my shots at 358, but I do overall enjoy this story. I just feel that it suffers from a mix of things. Choosing the wrong protagonist, limiting itself to just one perspective, and holding too many cards close to its chest when it might finally be time to start playing them. That said, it still works well as its own tragic tale and as an epilogue to KH2, but it is still best, I would argue, to experience it all in game form, be it on the DS or through emulation. The movie version? Oh hell no. I knew the story going in, and watching it in this format took all of my emotional investment and transformed it into pure boredom and frustration and anger. The pacing is dreadful because there was no attempt to actually translate the story or its structure into a new medium. It is one thing to cut out all the gameplay and condense all the cutscenes in a YouTube video for brevity. It is another for the official company to do that and then call it a movie and act like it's an equal way of experiencing the story. The constant fades to black, the cutaways before action can happen.
Leave Xion to me! Got it!
And the references to events not shown on screen make this feel so jarring moment to moment. Not to mention that because we don't get to see Roxas going through these missions directly, it prevents us from sharing in his desire to get through them to reach the reward at the end of the day, hanging out with his friends at the clock tower. All of the clock tower scenes then just become repetitive and droning rather than rewarding. And no, having text screens which recap things for you between days or having Roxas narrate them to you does not make the story engaging. It makes it feel like homework. Leave that shit for OLED, okay? I just can't see this being nearly as satisfying a way to experience Day's story for newbies as its game version. And it upsets me that despite that, it is still presented as the default most accessible method. And also, how dare you put it where it is in the collection? Okay, so the reason why it's before KH2 and not after it is because this collection actually used to be 2 collections. The first collection was called 1.5, and it was KH1, Rechain of Memories, and Days, the movie version. And then 2.5 was KH2, Birth by Sleep, and Recoded, the movie version. Because they wanted a numbered game, a spin-off, and a movie version in each collection to make them more balanced. But that also means having to put 358 before 2, which does not... No. I used to think maybe that would be an interesting way to see the story technically, since that's where it is chronologically. But no, I think knowing Roxas's tragic fate and having more context about it from KH2 makes 358 a lot stronger, because then it's a Titanic situation where you know the iceberg is coming and you're just like, just move out of the way. So 358 days over 2 is... okay, the story, despite its flaws, is still emotionally devastating, even if it may be undermined by a handful of odd narrative choices. Still, it does such a wonderful job at making you more endeared to Roxas and Axel, and it really surprises me with how endearing Xion is when she literally did not exist prior to this game. And almost as tragic as the Sea Salt Trio's fate is that this game is quite difficult for the average person to experience. The go-to movie version just cannot hold a goddamn candle to the original. And yet the game itself is likely to put people off, not only through its graphics and gameplay from being made for the DS, but also through Square's disinterest in preserving it in its original form. For all of this though, I do think that it is worth trying to play, whether it be on an old DS that you have lying around or through emulation, obviously with the Melon Mix version to make life easier. Roxas, Axel, and Xion deserve that much, I think. Now, despite this game serving largely as an epilogue, it still does not tackle the unanswered questions from all of KH2's post-game content, and even raises a new one by including that Roxas lookalike from the secret ending. Not to mention questions as to the organization's past, especially that of Xehanort. Well, rest somewhat assured, these answers will be revealed in the next video in this series, the one about Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Will those answers be satisfying? Yeah, we'll get there. The next one might be flat out bullying Birth by Sleep, because I'm not gonna lie, from here onward, my feelings really start souring on the series. I still love it, but like, I must be real and I must start bullying. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this from me, then be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications, because YouTube hates creators. And again, if you can, pledging your support for myself and the channel over on Patreon helps me continue the work that I do. I'm the Unicorn of War, and Xion's life is such a sad, sad shit show. Oh my god.